means you're like, oh, I need a cut. I need a
Welcome to the ADHD Roundtable, wonderful human beings. This is episode 17, where we openly discuss ADHD to bring normalcy to neurodiversity while engaging in deep conversations and having fun. So my first question to you all lovely humans is, what is your favorite thing currently about your flavor of ADHD? And you can all choose to go. Who wants to go first?
I have a lot of energy. Yeah, I get shit done. Like I can run circles around most people. It's a little crazy, but I do appreciate that I can I can get things done that, or like more done in like 5 minutes than most people could in like a full day kind of thing. So I say that's my favorite so far.
same. And I'm done judging myself for it. I'm just fucking done. I get so much done, and my brain can do a lot of different things. And I know I guess there's no actually such thing as multitasking. Like we can't actually be at two places at once, but I think I've broken that code because I can. But yeah, I love that I can do so much and just spread my power.
Mm.
It's cool.
I don't know how you do it. I am not consistently productive per se. And I can do anything if I'm motivated. And that's what I love about it, is when I choose to do something, when I'm motivated about it, nothing can stop me. But mostly I really love that I am overly enthusiastic about anything that I'm enthusiastic about. I am just like 120% into that. And I love that vibrancy and that joy of just like, guess what? I want to make everything better. I want to make everything awesome.
Awesome.
If you all have been following me, you know this. If you are new to me, I am an ADHD coach who does not have ADHD. However, one of my favorite things about ADHDers is the way that you all take in information through all of your senses in a very fast manner, and the way that you're able to process it to like problem solve for another human is incredible. That's why I like love having my Rolodex of ADHDers when I'm stuck on a thing. Like, hey, can you help me with this thing? Because it would take me 6 years to do it, and it'll take you 30 seconds.
The fact that you can keep up with me is impressive. I'm like, you're not ADHD, but you can keep up with the way that my brain works. I am confused. Most
I
people
didn't
just
even realize
can't.
how we process information. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like I thought everyone was like this.
No, not at all, which is why I love like people's brains can work differently. And I was actually just talking to some other people about this, is like our society needs different brains to function differently. And so the fact that we devalue or demonize the way that brains function differently is tragedy, because like we need the different ways of thinking in order for our society to keep moving forward and for us to like continue to create beautiful, wonderful things in the world. And so I'm just consistently in awe of my clients and friends with ADHD. It's like, wow, how did your brain do that? I cannot process information like you. Wow, that's amazing.
What's
And we
fascinating
cannot
because
retain information like you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a good team.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Um,
fascinating. Oh, go ahead.
go Eric.
I was gonna say it's like people do like the different thing a lot of times. They love celebrities who can do weird things, who act weird. Like Michael Jackson was super famous. Like there's some really weird celebrities that everybody loves. Why is it different when it's your friend who's doing the weird zany things where I'm like, whoa, you're too far outside the box, but you love it when it's somebody out there. And this brings me to like, I'm the analytical ADHD. I study people because I'm like, I don't people normally and I evaluate things. And even within ADHD, we're all very different. Every single, but that's the thing is even normal people fit into that normal bell curve of behavior. They're all different too. Everybody's different.
Yeah. Okay, my next question is, how did you stumble upon the fact that you have ADHD? Did you choose to get a diagnosis or not? Tell me a little bit about that.
You go first. So I kind of always was like, there's something a little, like why can't I complete tasks like others? Or there's just always certain things, right? Um, so a friend gave me an Adderall one day, and I was like my whole brain like I could finally focus. It was like this miracle that happened. So I was like, maybe I should see if I actually have the thing. I always would joke that I had it, but when I went in and got the diagnosis, they're like, oh yeah, you have it. Like you absolutely have it. And so I did start taking Adderall, and like at first I couldn't even sleep because it woke me up so much that I was having like terrible insomnia. I'm not sure where the echo is coming from. Sorry if it's on my end, but um anyway, yeah, I took something that actually turned my brain on, and it really helped. And now I still take it, but it's I don't even know if it's working anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. So, and I can't take much more of what I take because then I wouldn't be able to sleep. Then I'm really a mess. So yeah, that's how I found out. But what was fascinating was realizing how many young girls don't get diagnosed at all, and we're just expected to sit, because we're more like we have to be more perfect, right? We have to be more behaved. We have to always watch what we say, and so we're just going through life like that, thinking that that's like how it's supposed to be. When it's so much easier for a little boy to be diagnosed because he's able to sit still or whatnot, even though school is not even a place I think that all learning styles are welcomed. So none of it makes sense to me really. But um, I see now looking all the way back how affected I was by this and didn't know my whole like school life. Yeah. And it makes me feel a little sad for that little girl, you know. Mm, yeah.
I
So
often talk to people about the like relief and grief that happens simultaneously when you get a diagnosis or when you stumble upon the fact that you have ADHD.
Yeah, when I realized I did feel that exactly what you're saying. There was a lot of grief because I'm like, why can't I just be normal? Or why does it have to be like this? And things feel so much harder sometimes, even though I really wouldn't change much about myself, right? But yeah, I really went through that. What really helped me was following other people with ADHD on Instagram and realizing that I was not at all alone in any way, that there's thousands, millions of us. There's totally, I'm not alone at all. And it's kind of normal within this realm that I feel the way I do most of the time. So that really helped. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I really like that. It kind of like I want to mirror off of that and start kind of on the opposite same end and go to the origination. Because like it's something like it's really hard to get outside of your perspective. And like I'm AMAB. I was assigned male at birth, and I have always felt scrutinized and picked apart and told that I'm not doing things. I'm not normal. I'm too rambunctious. I'm too this and that. And it's like I cannot know what it was like to have lived in an AFAB body growing up, but it's like, dude, I got constant feedback that I was inappropriate or that my emotions were not okay. Just like I was always considered too much. And I wasn't like the, stabbing people with pencils kind of kid or anything like that, but just rambunctious all the time, I guess. I don't really know. And so throughout my life, I've kind of always gotten that feedback. And I've always been like, huh, okay. I just kind of knew that I wasn't normal. And I was like, how do normal people, how do you do social interactions? How does peopling work? And I was always interested in like psychology because of that, because it's like, how do other people's brains work? I couldn't figure it out. It was very tricky to figure out what's going on inside people's brains. And that led me to psychology, which led me to read magazines and stuff like that. And eventually I came across, I think the first real time that I realized that I was probably ADHD was I was reading an article on rejection sensitive dysphoria. And I was like, oh, oof, wow. Whew, that's a lot of feels right there. I have a lot of feels about a lot of feels. And I read a little bit more, went to the doctor, and I said, I think I should get checked for ADHD. I don't remember them saying, wow, like they didn't seem terribly surprised, but yep. That's kind of been my life is a little bit at a time, but just constantly working things out and figuring them out using a lot of brain power.
Yeah, Eric, I mean, I just feel like growing up, I didn't even know the language. So I came here from Iran when I was 7, and I only spoke Farsi. I barely spoke any English. I knew 2 words, hello, and then shut up, because my cousin, I think I told you this earlier, just told me that that's how you ask someone how they're doing. So you can imagine how that was received as a kid, but I was always like, just always told you talk too much. Like I still managed to get in trouble for talking too much without even knowing the language, right? I just always, but that too much, like that's what I've always heard, you're too much, you're too much, you're too much. And then of course the society's like, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. And then I'm like, where the fuck do I fit, right? But it wasn't until later in life, I would say in the past few years, I have a 15-year-old daughter who got diagnosed. We had to go get her diagnosis for ADHD because at one point I was like, who needs a diagnosis? I mean, everyone probably has ADHD with the world that we live in, right? And I learned that no, ADHD is really your mind works differently. The way you experience the world around you is different. And so she was having a lot of challenges at school, and we got her diagnosis. And, she's got this IEP program, and I'm really learning all about her. And then I was like, a little bit, Aisha, like, I was like, oh my God, this was me. This is my whole life. This is why I struggled. Like, I can't even imagine if there was an adult in my life that said, okay, that girl right there, she just needs she needs some accommodations. She needs some adjustments because she's bright. She knows a lot. She has some things to say, but she's kind of hushed and silenced because she doesn't know exactly when to say it, and she says too much. And um, that's when it really hit me, was recently when I saw it in my own daughter. And I was like, fuck, that's me, And so now I'm not diagnosed. You're gonna ask Jess, I don't need to be diagnosed. We're working together. She's changed my life. And I finally, in these past few months of, I feel fucking safe and accepted. And I'm in a meeting and I have to apologize for just existing as I am, because she understands how my mind works and she understands the brilliance of it and the other bullshit that comes with it. So yeah, I'm a late bloomer, but here I am. Here we all are.
My God, you all are making me feel so seen. This is amazing. I just have to say one last thing about the RSD, the rejection sensitivity disorder, Eric, because when I read that for the first time, I was like, I mean, I was in so much grief because I realized how much fucking people pleasing I had been doing because of that my entire life. It had been like leading my entire life, and like this chronic exhaustion was always from just like trying to bend and twist to make people like me. And I really wasn't even getting this until way later in life, like maybe not even until a couple years ago, so yeah, that one was a big one for me. I just wanted my
I need to
screen to
look this up. You guys, what is it?
I was just gonna say,
I have it. I have it.
yeah.
Rejection sensitive dysphoria is the extrasensory to real or imagined slights or changes in people, or also the fact that you can actually read micro expressions when you're ADHD and or have familiar trauma, family trauma.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what you could tell when somebody's pissed off just instantly, and it's like they may not have even done anything overt, or like you go up and you meet a, I have this problem still. When somebody doesn't emote in ways that I can tell whether they like me or not, I'm like, maybe they don't like me anymore. I don't know. I can't tell.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I need to go deep dive into that. Thank you. Learning so much.
Um, thank you all for sharing your stories. I know there are people who are going to watch this and resonate with you. And so I haven't done this in my roundtable yet, but I was wondering if you all would be open to going through a little, I call them transition exercises, but it's like a little mini visualization, to kind of just reach back into the younger version of yourself and love on them for a second. Because I'm feeling emotional for your little boys and girls inside of you, and I would love to just support in that for anyone else who's watching too. Um, so what we're gonna do is get cozy in your chair, and close your eyes if you feel comfortable, and take a deep breath. And take another deep breath, biggest breath you've taken all day. And as you continue to take deep breaths, picture a younger version of yourself. Think about maybe how old you are, what kind of clothes you're wearing, what room you're in. Get really clear on a very specific moment in time with that younger version of yourself. See what they're doing. See how they're laughing and talking and running around and being vibrant and full of energy, joy, and aliveness. And then you might see someone tell them to diminish themselves in some way, to make yourself smaller, to whatever that is. Instead of sitting there all by yourself, you as your adult version of you, you get to go up and hug them. Hold their hand. Tell them how wonderful their brain is, how amazing their vibrant energy is, how loved they actually are, and how all parts of them are welcome here. You don't have to make yourself smaller. You are not broken. All of you is welcome in this place. Your bigness brings joy to this world. Take another deep breath. Take one more deep breath. And open your eyes when you're ready. Ooh. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel. I felt. I genuinely felt it. Yeah.
For me, I have a 10-year-old who has a big personality, special needs child. And I worry that I'm doing that to him. like his too muchness is too much for me because of my other parts of the ADHD of like this oversensory stuff, right? Where I'm like, there's too much noise, there's too much happening. And I am like trying not to snuff his light and deal with my own self. So it makes me worried. But that was a beautiful exercise. But yeah, that's where my mind goes like, oh my God, am I doing this to my own kid? You know? Yeah.
You're not alone in that. Every day. I'm like, how much of my life, it's like, how much fucking up can I do?
We're at therapy 8 this morning with my kid.
But you care. You care.
Feel like that really helped me just kind of release the emotion that was building up there and just kind of be present with it and let it just be rather than being stuck inside. It's a lot of emotion, in general, a lot of emotion, but also you add the trauma, the being told that you're different or too much. It's tough.
Many people with ADHDs experience what is called CPTSD. Many people know what PTSD is, but that's normally like a one-time occurrence, or like someone who's at war and watches their comrade getting blown up. Or a different example of that, I myself have PTSD around glass shattering because I had a Pyrex dish blow up in my face one time. And while I didn't physically get hurt, every time I hear glass shattering in my presence, my body like freaks out a little bit. But CPTSD is complex. It's something that's probably happened over and over and over and over and over again. And so ADHDers who are told to be smaller and they're too loud and they're too much and this over and over and over and over again. That's something called CTPSD. And so doing the little exercise that we just did is a way to support and healing of that journey. So thank you for letting me lead you through that. It's also good for me.
I feel like you need to teach that. You need to teach that globally, Jess. That transition that we do every day. I mean, I know I always say it, but it really brings me back to my humanness. I think we forget as ADHDers that like we're human because we're just like doing and thinking and feeling, and it's like so fucking much. And as someone just stops you for a moment and reminds you that you are breathing, living, and that is life changing. Better than any drug I've ever taken. So,
Yeah.
It's really powerful. Thank you.
Dude, if you can find mindfulness, especially somebody who's ADHD, it's only been a little while now that I actually found mindfulness and got into like a state where I really felt it. If you can figure that out and get there, I felt more relaxed than I have in 15 years. And the kind of stuff that Jess is teaching here with the breathing and I mean, that is a mindfulness, right? A mindfulness exercise. Being able to get into that and actually feeling calm and present in the moment when you don't feel that hardly ever in your life is such a blessing and such a gift. It's so good for everyone to stop and smell the roses and intentionally relax.
Okay, so we have 3 amazing humans on this episode of the ADHD Roundtable today. All of them are business owners. And so I would love for you all to like introduce yourself, tell us about your business and anything else you want to shamelessly plug right now.
I'll start at once. I'll just go because I keep going first. I'm Aisha. I'm born and raised in Hawaii. I just moved to San Diego. I'm a solo mom to a beautiful special needs child named Arrow. Years ago, I was abandoned by his father and had to act very quickly so we weren't homeless, and started a business in my backyard supporting women because I needed support desperately back then. So if you can't find it, you create it, right? That's what we do as ADHDers. We'll just make it up if we need something. We'll just do it ourselves. So it's what started was as a backyard market for female vendors to sell their stuff. Ended up morphing into a online business academy program for them. Once the pandemic hit, I had to pivot again. And so I support women to launch their dreams, their empires, their freedom businesses. And I love what I do. And I feel really blessed by it. And I share very openly about my ADHD with my clients all the time. And I actually create templates and worksheets for them because a lot of them are neurospicy too. I seem to attract some neurospicy clients as well.
Neurospicy. So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to work with you, what would be the best way to get connected with you?
Yeah, you can find me just at Launch Your Empire on Instagram or launchyourempire.com. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
All right, so I guess I'll head up next. My name's Eric, and I don't know what I'm doing. This life thing is complicated and it's confusing. I am incredibly smart and very ADHD. And like, how do you even just basically live life? Getting your chores done, interfacing with other humans. How do you do all the things and not feel tired all the time? And that's really, I don't know, what I've been trying to figure out. I I was blessed. I grew up pretty dang poor and didn't have a really strong family support background or anything like that. Um, but I happened to have an aptitude for engineering, and that opened a lot of doors for me. My brain designs stuff every single freaking day. It doesn't stop. And as such, I see systems, I see things that need improving, and I want to improve them. I see myself and I'm like, what are the variables here? What needs to be fixed so that I can live life better? And how can I also help other people fix as well so that they can live life better? Because we can all create better lives for each other and ourselves and grow like that. Um, One day though, I was house hunting and I happened to find this odd place in the woods. It was a house on an acre of woods that nobody had mowed down yet. And there was a dance hall on the back of it. And I said, well, shit, heck, you know what? I don't have enough projects. Don't have enough projects. Working full time as an engineer, um, it doesn't, to some extent, especially past Eric, it didn't matter how much I put on my plate. It was hard to focus and get things done. And the more stuff I put on my plate, the more I could get done. It was great. It was like, oh, look, there's more pressure. I can get more stuff done. Um, and so alongside of being an engineer, I started up this ballroom rental business. And I now rent this space out to people for wonderful community events. I love the joy that people bring in here, and I love being a part of making them happy. So people rent this space out for weddings, birthdays, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, all kinds of family gatherings, and that brings me a lot of joy. And throughout this process, I've continued working and figuring out like, how do you life? How do you do this better? And figuring out a little puzzle piece here and a little puzzle piece there, and whenever I can, sharing it with anybody who wants to try to figure this stuff out too, and who could teach me the things that I need to figure out. Because that's also yeah. So welcome to the Chateau Ballroom. It's your beautiful, serene ballroom on an acre of woods in Southwest Portland. You can find out more on thechateauballroom.com or message us after this, I guess.
Yeah.
That was the best.
Oh, that's sweet of you. Thank you.
Well, as you know, as an ADHDer, you get bored real easily, and I am not bored. You guys are interesting. I love this. I feel so lucky to be here. I'm Masa. I have a mom to 3 kids. I do not know who decided that I should have 3 humans that I'm responsible for, and they're girls. They're girls. I am okay, so I make a wellness chai that calms your ass down. I was a hot mess, but I wasn't actually that hot. It was, I had, it was 2020. I had my third daughter, and I got really bad anxiety. It was like, I've always had anxiety, but this was like debilitating anxiety. And I'm Persian, so like when we are anxious, we just drink tea, which makes no sense now that I realize like all I was doing is just having more caffeine, which was making me more anxious. And it got so bad during this time that I actually had to quit my vice, right? Which was black tea. But it was like my grandmother, and it's my culture, and it's so much more than tea. It was the thing that would always take me back home. So then, like Aisha said, what did you say? When you can't find it, create it. Is that what yours sound better and it rhymed? But I tried like all these different chais, and backstory, I'm also a private chef. So like flavor really matters to me. And I started getting really mad and like irritated that there was just no regard for flavor. Like we deserve to have things that make our body feel good and for it to taste good. We, the American people, have a palate beyond just fucking sugar. I know it, and I'm bound, like I'm determined to have a chai revolution and change the way we experience really good tea. So I made my own, and I would share with my husband, who talks a lot of shit, and he is like the first to tell me when something needs a little more of this or a little less of that. So we go on these walks, and I kept making all these different blends because I just became this like wild scientist in the kitchen, which is really good for my ADHD. Side note, sorry, I go on so many tangents. Actually, I'm not sorry. Not sorry.
You.
I cooking, especially for kids, really helps with their ADHD. Like my daughter, that focus, that instant gratification, really letting yourself exist as part of a recipe that is imperfect but wildly delicious is fucking cool. And so I found myself in the kitchen, made the thing. He finally was like, this is it. And of course, I had to feel it too. I'm not just dependent on what someone else tells me, even though I'm a people pleaser, recovering, all that. And then I shared it because that's what I do. And then people were like, what is this? We want more. I was like, sorry, there's 12 ingredients. I would like tell them the recipe, and their eyes would roll backwards. And anyways, here we are now. We've launched Master Chai, named it after myself because I'm a narcissist. Just kidding, a little bit. But I just thought, I'm going to take ownership of a name that's always been mispronounced. I'm proud of being Iranian. I am so proud that my name represents freedom for women and fighting for what's right and breaking the rituals or breaking traditions that no longer serve us and really creating the rituals that sustain us. So that's what I do. I help people enjoy something good for them. That's also really good for me. So I get high on my own supply all day.
Where can we find Masa Chai?
Well, you can find it online. And you can find it. We have a lot of local partners here in Portland. And I'm going to plug my favorite place in the whole world. Okay. Are you guys paying attention? If you have ADHD or if you're a human being needing love and peace and nourishment, I highly recommend you go to Brighton Bush Hot Springs. You can check out, there's no Wi-Fi service. There's hot springs. They serve my chai. It's the first place that served it. What an honor. It's like the most thing that I'm so proud of. And we're in other coffee shops. Dead Stocks is a really cool place. And you can go to Prince Coffee. You can go to yeah, we have a list online. Sorry, I can't remember. So many, we're just so many places. Just kidding, we're not. But we will be because, you know, we're a force. And once I
Yeah.
get all my ducks in a row, I'll be quacking all the way.
Oh, and I'm Just Bo's ADHD coach. I love supporting ADHDers to get out of their own way so that they can live the life they say they want to be living. And one of the ways that I love to do that is through supporting entrepreneurs. So something that I started a few months ago with Eric and Masa is I work with them in their business to help them create systems and ways of doing things in their business that works for their brain instead of the ways that society says you have to run a business. And it's also an interesting thing to fill the gap, because as an entrepreneur, there's often times where you get to a point where you're starting to make money and grow and you need support, but you don't have all of the money to be able to pay somebody full time, but then you try to hire someone part-time and then you're spending all of your time training them rather than doing it can be messy. And I am this weird hybrid person who fits right in that gap because I have a degree in education, and one of my favorite things is helping understand how people learn and creating things that help work in a way that work for you. I also have worked in a lot of industries. I've had a lot of jobs, so I understand a little bit about a lot. I also own my own business, and so I understand what it is to be a business owner. And so with all of those things, I help kind of fill that gap. So if you are looking for support with your ADHD entrepreneurship, or you have ADHD and need help with life, you can go to justdebose.com and sign up for a free strategy call. And I would be love to connect with you and talk to you more about how I can best support you if I'm the right person for you. I always say to people, there's 3 fuck yeses to work with me. I have to be a fuck yes to you. You have to be a fuck yes to me, and you have to be a fuck yes to the work. And if those align, then we'll figure out the rest. So okay, so speaking of being an entrepreneur with ADHD, what has been one of your biggest like aha like hack moments that you're like, "Ooh, I wish I would have known this sooner in my entrepreneurship journey," so that you can share that with other people who are on that journey?
Okay, so first of all, I just want to back up everything that Jess just said. Like, when you're starting out with a business, you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes you have this inkling of like, there's got to be a better way to do this. Who out there, like, I ask myself that question, like, who is the person that can help me figure out the steps to do the things that you're supposed to do that are going to make this easier? Because I don't even know what those steps, I know there's a staircase, I don't know what it is. And I've tried people and other people, and I've tried hiring people. It's confusing. It is really hard. And I feel like it's extra hard for maybe ADHD people, but I don't. But Jess is able to make it easy and also entertaining because they're hilarious. And also they put up with some of my ADHD bullshit, which is great. I'll get this phone call and I'll be like, hey, that meeting we had that's right about now. I'm like, that one, yes. So yeah, they make it fun, and they don't know a little bit about a lot of things. They know quite a bit about a lot of things.
Thank you,
Yes.
Eric.
And in regards to your actual question, I don't know. I haven't thought about that one yet.
I have an answer. I'm excited for that one. And sorry, I got to piggyback to on it. Jess, if you're listening to this, and whether you're a small business owner, a big business owner, just a human running the business of humanism, I don't know if that's a word, but Jess, thank you. I know I say this every day, and maybe this is part of my answer, is really surround yourself with the people that they're not just your cheerleaders, but they see the truth, and they will put you and like help you guide. They won't try to like change you or shape. Like, they understand you are who you are. You that is your superpower, but you just give me space to really tap into my own magic. And I would say my secret to being an entrepreneur is, and this is cheesy, I feel like we hear it all the time, but do not abandon your gut. Whatever you do, don't abandon your gut, your instincts. You fucking know better than anybody what is right for your business and what is right for you. And guess what? Sometimes that gut will get you some deep shit, but you need to be in that deep shit. You need to feel it and smell it and touch it. Don't taste it. That's just too far. But you know not to get in it again. And surround yourself with people that trust you and you trust them to follow those instincts. But I just think all we hear is, you know, read that book or listen to this person or just look outside of yourself, look outside of yourself. No, look inside of yourself and trust what you already know. Because the encyclopedia of you is genius and knows best. I'm going to stop talking now.
I love that. I feel the same. Like there's always been like this little inner voice that is like whispered to me, and I'm like, I don't know who is fucking talking, but I like what you're saying. So I'm gonna listen to that. And it's like in me, right? It's like higher self stuff, but that's led me to do everything I've ever done. I just haven't questioned it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to whatever this is. I think for me too, just logistically, like if it's not on the damn calendar, it doesn't exist. So everything must be on the calendar, the digital calendar. And it took me a while to even get from the paper to the digital. I was trying to do both for a while because I need to see the things. And I mean, I am one of those psycho people with like 10,000 lists. You know, I am that. But the dopamine I get from crossing things off is like, oh, it feels great.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and I got myself a personal assistant, virtual assistant, and that changed my life. You know, just having someone to be like, blah, 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 too, and they're not ADHD and they get shit done. And so that's been huge. And yeah, utilizing certain ways of project managing, you know, like utilizing actual technology that's already exists. I don't have to create it. You know, I use things like that. The Google Drive is my bestie. I love Google Drive. I can find things, I can figure it out. So those things have really helped. Yeah, because it's easy to get into imposter syndrome with ADHD for sure, and compare and despair, you know. So staying in my own lane and just surrounding myself with good people, trusting myself, lists, and the calendar is how I survive life.
Excellent.
But it's doing something. So.
I'd say
Go ahead.
with my stuff, like I love all the advice, and there's 1,000 different things you could say, 1,000 different tips. I love the calendar one. One of my keywords is let me check my calendar. I had to train myself to do that one. But in general, it's okay to fuck up. As Shakespeare once said, to fuck up is human. I think it goes something like that. But it's okay to mess up. You keep going and learn and build your inner voice. I don't always trust my inner voice. And I don't know that I really had a full inner guide or an inner voice before, but I keep going and I don't stop, except for to sleep sometimes. You keep going and you keep trying and you keep figuring out what, because you're doing the best you can right now where you're at. You cannot do better than what you're doing right now, right now. What you can do is shape the future and keep trying, and eventually things will click into place, and you might not know just how close you are to getting that thing to just latch and just go ka-chunk. And then everything all of a sudden makes a lot more sense than it did 10 minutes ago. So just keep going and keep trying and keep figuring it out. Change, grow, develop, find really cool people to be around.
Yes.
You know.
This is so great. Oh my gosh. Okay, speaking of failing, let's talk about failing. Tell us about a time that you failed, and it doesn't have to have a good ending. It could be whatever, like part of this is to bring normalcy into the humanness of ADHD. So if you're willing to share about a time that you failed, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just be honest, right now, things are tough in my industry. I feel like with the distractions of an election, with the saturation of um, everybody's a coach right now. Everybody's a business coach. I feel like maybe it's just because I see it because I'm in the realm. So yeah, there's a part of me that feels like I'm failing right now, actually. And I'm just kind of like, okay, we'll see what the universe has in store. I'm trying to surrender and trying to like realize that if I'm not really, really, truly excited about something, it's probably not going to work out for me, and like, where's my energy right now? Yes, I love what I do, but I don't love all these some parts about it, right? I don't love the launching part. I don't love the constant self-promotion. I don't love being on social media all the time. And I don't love spending thousands of dollars on ads, right? So it's like there's certain things I'm not loving, and I'm seeing that as the result of like where my business is at. So right now I'm grappling with like trying not to feel like a failure because it's not going the way I want it to. And I'm just trying to surrender and wait for that little voice to come back and tell me, okay, what's next, right? Yeah, so I'm sitting in it. It feels uncomfortable a lot. I've done so much work on this to like walk away feels like crazy. Like, why would I do that? But I'm like, is this what I want anymore? I think that's what happens when you have ADHD. Like, we want to be excited. You want to not to be bored, right? And so it's easy to be like, oh, next job, next career, next life, next everything. And just being like, okay, can I sit with this discomfort and see what happens and carry on? Or do I really need to start all over again? Do I need to do that? So I'm kind of in it right now, I would say, just to be really honest. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
A very something that I often say is resistance is part of the process. And then a very wise person told me also that resistance is information. And so sometimes when we're in that space of like, I don't know, is like actually a really beautiful space to be in, even though it fucking sucks, because it's actually forcing you to slow down and like check in with yourself. Like, is this actually what I want? Make a conscious choice to choose it or not. And then take the conscious choice of like, okay, if I am choosing it, in what way am I going to do it? For how long? If I'm not, what do I get to do next? It's a very uncomfortable place today. So kudos to you for being in that space right now. That's beautiful.
Thank you. I don't know about you, the other people on the panel here, but it's like the burnout becomes very real for us, like there's a point where you pushed as far as you can. And then my body's just like, no, we're not doing that anymore. All of a sudden it's like, nope, we're done. And I'm like, oh shit, but wait, this is not the thing I need to stop. Right. This is like how I eat and raise a kid. And so, there's all of that too, right? Like really just listening to my body, like my body is saying no to the hustle right now. So how can I pivot into the next thing that feels aligned, exciting, positive, where I can make an impact and not totally just give my whole soul away also. So I'm just waiting for that answer to come through, no big deal. Small things.
You ever hit that moment where like caffeine stops working? Like I discovered adrenal fatigue during the whole COVID shenanigans there. And at one point it was just like I had a cup of coffee and nothing happened. And it was like, oh wow, I thought I had reached levels of exhaustion before, but this is a whole new like just whoop, flat line. You're like, caffeine, caffeine. Yep.
I'm going to get some of her chai instead.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
But
the answer. And did you know that caffeine actually takes 90 minutes? Now, I was talking to someone who studied this, and so obviously all bodies are different, every metabolism is different, but yeah, it can take up to 90 minutes to actually show its effects. So a lot of what we're doing is it's a placebo effect. We just trained ourselves to think that like when we have, but a drink of coffee or whatever it is that we're going to get that thing, but it does actually take some time to show its thing in your body. Anyways, that was just a side note. Another side note. I'm gonna start a business called Side Notes.
Great.
I Aisha, I first of all, I can't your vulnerability is really beautiful. My God, you're the furthest thing from failure in any way, shape, or form. I'm just sitting here like, how I wish if I had just started this woman, like you're just a fucking powerhouse. Okay. So I just want to tell you that. Just hold on, sister. And thank you for sharing what you did, because for some, they might see you and the way you speak and the way you look and the way you present yourself. You're with it. You're smart, and you can just tell you're a successful human being. So for you to share that just made you even more impactful and more powerful. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. That was really, really sexy, is what I'm really trying to say.
I love you.
I love you too. I love all of you.
Me too.
If I'm being really honest, I wanted to tell you guys about the time I did this TV show and I failed in front of thousands of people on Cutthroat Kitchen, if you want to go see my failure ever. But really, if after listening to you and listening to my truth, I do feel like every single day, in some ways, I fail myself in betraying my well-being.
Mm.
And I'm going so fucking fast and I'm doing so many things that if I was to really stop and pay attention, I'm afraid of what could happen. I don't know if I'd get back up. I know I would, because my mental, it is so strong. I wish sometimes it would just, actually, I don't wish that. It would be really scary. I don't know what would happen, but I feel like I betray myself over and over again. And it is only when I go to those, the hot pools, in life, in those places where the world is just, I can't access the world, that I really begin to feel the things that are happening inside of me and the care that I need. But I need some care. And I'm caring for a lot of other people, but may I one day give myself that care. That's the day I will feel like I really accomplished something.
Mm.
So, yeah.
I love that thought of finding those moments of serenity, finding the things in your life that cause you to forget all the times you fucked up, all the times you've screwed something up and it's gone wrong, all the current stresses in your day-to-day moment, all the things that are left undone, the people that you surround yourself with, the dancing that you do, the hot springs, all of those moments help. And it's not just you're there or you're not. It's you find things and you bring them into your life and you cultivate them and you start making little lists or you just start learning them. And you're like, oh shit. All right, I'm being really stressed out right now. Let's go and lay down and put something dark over my eyes and set a damn timer so that I can actually sit my ass down for 10 minutes, even just 10 minutes, and find that chance to reconnect and to be okay with life. It's gone on as best as you can, and you're doing the best that you can. And like when we're talking about failures, oh, it hits hard every time I fucked up that I can remember. And I'm sure there's plenty that I've forgotten too, but it's there. It's like everybody that I've upset in my life, it's all there. And I know that it's an opportunity to learn. And that's what makes me feel okay with it. It's like I deeply regret every time I fucked up, every time I've hurt somebody, every time I've done something wrong. It feels really bad, but it's a learning opportunity. And bit by bit, if you keep going at it, you keep becoming a better person. You learn from those moments. If you don't learn from those moments and decide to change and become a better person, it's like, okay, you're stuck somewhere in a swamp. But if you keep learning and growing and working to be the kind of person that does more good in this world than you do harm, Oh, it's okay to fuck up. Still pretty sad to think about though. And that's why there's dancing, is because it makes me stop thinking about
Yes.
anything else except for that moment and the amazing fun and beauty that is the joy of dancing.
I think it's only fair if I also answer the question. And I've been sitting here trying to think about failure. It's not that I don't fuck up. I fuck up all the time. But I have spent a lot of time redefining that and seeing things as learning experiences and not as failures. And also connecting, like, I had to fuck this up in order to get to this point in my life. And so for me, it's hard to witness it as myself as a failure. But if I would talk about it from the lens of society standards, I filed bankruptcy a few years ago. I didn't know what I didn't know about business and spent lots of money trying to make sure had the softwares and the coaching and the da 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 da, da, and then I couldn't afford anything and had lots of credit card debt and couldn't pay my credit card monthly payments, and so I had to file bankruptcy. And what's crazy about it is, like, society talks about it like it's this big bad scary thing that you should never ever 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 do. It's like actually not that big of a deal, really. Like within a couple of months, credit cards were already sending me credit cards and car loan, like, here, we'll help you get your I'm like, oh, they talk about like you're never going to be able to get anything. No, that's not true. So
Oh,
anyone who's moving through that money shit stuff, you're not alone. I'm currently on food stamps and have medical through the state, and I'm still growing my business. And I think this is the first time I've openly talked about this. I'm not, I was going to say I'm not ashamed of it, but I don't think that's entirely true. I think a little bit still. So it is an interesting thing to move through when you are a business owner, of like, you don't know what you don't know until you get there. So, I highly encourage, like, but I also needed to get to that space to have, I have a different gratitude for $20 than I did 10 years ago. And I have a different understanding of, like, being okay with spending too. I was in this like scarcity, like I can't spend money all the time. I'm like, no, that's not the case either. Like I have a very different relationship with money as a result of my experience through the failure. And so I'm starting to make money in my business now, and it's fucking cool. But it does take a while to get out of the hole that you dig sometimes. So yeah. Okay, so we're not going to end on failures, because one of the first things that I always do in a coaching session is the transition to exercise, and then we talk about celebrations and wins, because I know ADHDers are really good at knowing the things that they suck at. They struggle to focus on the things that they're really good at and remembering the things that they get to celebrate. So, what is something you're really proud of for yourself?
so this year I'm turning 40, and it was in my mid 30s to 40s that I'm actually figuring out the stuff in life that I've really wanted to figure out. Relationships, lovers, how to do business stuff. Like it's taken a long time to figure this stuff out, but I am becoming organized. I am becoming at peace. I am figuring out how to live life with contentment. Like I feel like I'm succeeding at life.
Yeah.
And you found a place where people can dance. Hello.
You're
People can dance
winning.
everywhere. Ask me
I know,
anytime.
but anyone who like creates a place, you know, some people like need to go somewhere to dance.
If you build it, they will come.
They'll come.
Right.
I feel really proud, honestly, just first thing that came to mind to be here right now. Whatever I've done in my life to land me like truly in this moment where I get to be amongst like this is my kind of people where we talk about real stuff and but with kindness and respect, and we laugh and we all cried, and we're a bunch of strangers. Obviously our connection is Jess, but I feel really lucky, and I must be an interesting person to be here. So around that.
1,000%.
This is awesome.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love both of what you're saying. Eric, I'm gonna come dance in your ballroom one day.
You should come this Saturday, actually. There's a little impromptu dance thing going on.
I'm in San Diego, but we're planning actually to come to Oregon for Thanksgiving. We were just talking about that today, so I think I'm gonna have to come see all of you
That's
now.
That's right, San Diego.
Yep, Chai at my house, we'll go dance there, and then we're gonna go sing with Jess.
Done.
Yes.
Done and
I'm down for dancing anytime.
okay. I think right now what I'm most proud of, being a solo mom of a child who has, my child has a rare condition called Prader-Willi syndrome. He has insatiable hunger. He never feels full, ever. We lock the fridge, we lock the cabinets. It's a very intense life. Sometimes I feel like, what is this cosmic joke that I was given ADHD and have a child with this level of needs, and the amount of paperwork that I have to do, which I'm terrible at, is like fucking nightmare every day. The fact that I could move my child from Hawaii, away from my family, my friends, my community, everything I built, to San Diego alone a year ago. I'm really proud of that. It was the hardest thing I've ever fucking done. I got off the plane. I was like, is the world tilting? Because it feels like the world is tilting right now. I was like, what have you done? Oh my God, what have you done? Right? There was like a full out of body experience of like, holy fuck. Of course, my bed was delivered to the wrong place that I had ordered. I didn't even have a fork, like here I am with this kid. I'm like, who said I should be the one to move like a child, like a human child somewhere? But I did it. And I was been able to maintain my business this whole time somehow. And we moved into an amazing place. I pulled it all off. And the reason why we moved here was so that I could get my son better healthcare and support. And we're about to go into a clinical trial. Hopefully we get approved, but that's at the very end of September, very end of this month. That might help with the hunger. So they said it might take the edge off at least. So I said, I'll fucking take any edge off right now. So that feels like the biggest accomplishment on the planet for me, that I could actually do this, and that the things that I said we were going to do are going to happen, hopefully. So, yeah.
Congratulations, Mama.
Thank you. And it's been such an up and down, such an up and down. But I'm here, I'm in one place, I'm standing to tell the tale. I definitely felt like I was molting for the last year, crying in bed every night, in the goo, right? You're in the goo, you're in the mess. Then the wings come after. I really feel like I've maybe gotten through that part. But yeah, only way through is through, right? We gotta do the hard fucking work sometimes to grieve and get through. But yeah, so I'm proud of that. Right.
Yay. Congratulations.
Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah. I am man, I am leaning into the scary shit lately. I'm leaning into hard conversations. I'm leaning into I'm getting coaching myself right now. I am leaning into doing things that I feel called to, like putting out a TikTok video to Trevor Noah, because I think he and I should co-author.
Oh, I love him. Yeah.
If you don't know who Trevor Noah is, he's a comedian from South Africa. He's phenomenal. Yes. He recently started talking about how he has ADHD publicly, and I think it'd be really cool to have a comedian with ADHD and a neurotypical ADHD coach co-author a book. So if you reach out to him, send him my way if you know him. Please.
And listen to his book, Born a Crime, the best audiobook. His voice, you'll just want to lick. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
I think there's a lot of comedians without ADHD. Just random side thought. And also, if you're here on this video and you're watching this and you're counting the blades of grass behind Masa on the wall over there, and if you notice the gardener walking through at that one point, you might be ADHD. I'm just gonna put that out there.
We're gonna give you a free diagnosis right now. Do you realize right here? You have been diagnosed. You're welcome.
I may not be a psychiatrist, but I'm an engineer, which is about the same.
But do you eat cats and dogs? No. Okay.
Oh, okay. Wow. Don't hop off. We'll be on the Zoom for a second. But thank you all for being here. Anybody who's watching, thank you for connecting with us today. Feel free, if you're watching the recording, leave us comments, questions, connect with any of us on here. We would be happy to connect with you about anything that we touched on today. And keep going. You're doing a great job.